An African safari is often considered to be too expensive for most American hunters, but in reality, a plains game hunt in Africa is equivalent in price to a quality guided mule deer or elk hunt in the States. Professional hunting consultant Steve West traveled to Namibia with plans to do some long-range shooting with his Burris laser scope equipped with the ballistic plex system. Steve will be making shots as far as 500 yards as he hunts red hartebeest, springbuck, and black wildebeest. Join us for long-range shooting in Africa on another exciting episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures.
I'm Steve West, professional hunting consultant, and these are my adventures.
Steve's Outdoor Adventures is sponsored by Burris Optics, Remington, Stormcloth 2, Scope Coat, Western Medical, Montana Decoy Company, and by thehunter.com.
This past year I went to Namibia on a plains game hunting safari with our top outfitter, primarily to look over their newly constructed lodge facilities, but also to spend some time in the field with my daughter Randy on her first big game hunting adventure. Namibia borders South Africa to the north and is considered at this time to be the most stable country in Africa. The capital city of Windhoek is clean and the crime rate is very low, making it a very safe safari destination. At this time, Namibia is also considered the premier plains game hunting destination. They have vast populations of wildebeest, springbuck, hartebeest, gemsbuck, and kudu, and several other species. On a single day of hunting, you could see 15 to 20 different species of legal game. Our safari season runs from early April through November, but the peak safari season is May through August. Because Africa is located in the southern hemisphere, autumn begins in May and the weather is very cool and very pleasant throughout much of the safari season. Most North American hunting seasons are closed during May through August, making Africa the perfect off-season getaway to cure a bad case of itchy trigger finger. Our properties have exceptional lodging facilities. The main property has a newly constructed lodge and sleeping facilities that are 5-star. All of the lodges are fully staffed with housekeeping, and we provide full laundry services. The dining is exceptional. Every night you enjoy awesome meals and you get to sample wild African plains game prepared by expert cooks. We started our safari off with my daughter Randy taking a fine blue wildebeest and a magnificent black wildebeest on her very first big game stalks. She was having a fabulous time enjoying her African safari. Namibia is the perfect place to bring a young hunter. Every day is filled with stock opportunities and learning experiences that help hone their hunting skills. And our facilities are perfect for bringing your wife or non-hunting guests to lounge by the pool or come along and ride in a safari vehicle. The safari vehicles are Toyota and Land Rover trucks with high racks that have comfortable seats. These elevated seats allow us to see long distances and to spot game animals before they spot us. Riding around in the safari vehicles was really a big part of the entire safari experience. My first hunt was going to be for one of Africa's most underrated trophies, the red hartebeest. Professional hunter Corne Kruger told me that he had a lot of hartebeest on the concessions, including some phenomenal trophies, and he wasn't kidding. We must have looked at a few hundred hartebeest when we found a herd that had a couple of sure shooters.
Steve, we'll get out here. There's a herd of hartebeest about 200 yards from here. So we'll get out, just sit here and let the car drive off, and then we'll make our approach.
Excellent.
See if we can get a shot. There's a bunch of nice bulls in here.
That's what we've been waiting for.
Corne and I positioned ourselves with the wind in our favor and began a stalk. African plains game animals have excellent senses, and paying close attention to the wind direction is critical.
There's a good one up there. This is a big herd. There's a lot of bulls in it. They're about 300 yards away at the moment. And they're working their way this direction. We're going to kind of parallel them, see if we can't catch a good open shot at the lead bull. The big bull in the front's the one Cornet thinks is best.
See there, he's walking.
Yeah, I see him single right in front.
When we closed the distance, the wind swirled and they caught our scent and took off.
Marginal wind at best. Okay, it doesn't get much worse than that.
Stay tuned to Steve's Outdoor Adventures. When we return, Steve and Cornet get the wind in their favor as they continue their stalk in Namibia.
This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures is sponsored by Little Hottie's Hand Warmers.
Welcome back to Steve's Outdoor Adventures. Steve West and his guide Cornet Kruger are continuing their stalk on a huge herd of red hartebeest in Namibia.
We got on their tracks yet again and got the wind back in our favor. This time we popped up just a little bit too close in the heavy cover, and before we could get a shot, they spooked again. But this time they made a fatal mistake. The herd went down the opposite side of the hill and we followed them. They went down to the bottom and up the other side of the hill on an open face where they stopped to look back. The hillside was well within my shooting range, and they milled around for way too long. There were a lot of hartebeest on that hillside, and Cornet skillfully picked out the biggest bull. I ranged him at 356 yards using the Burris laser scope. I placed the 300-yard crosshair at the top of his spine and the 400-yard crosshair at the bottom of his chest, and settled in for the shot.
Smoke him up, baby.
Oh man, it's just bloody.
That's how you're supposed to shoot him, right?
Well done, buddy.
356.
356, your first African animal.
For number one. You know, that makes it easy because you just range him. Just ranged him, walked him up. 342, 351, 356. Put the 350 around the top of his shoulder. Knew it would fall right into place.
I tell you, I'm impressed. The first time I've seen the scope and I'm impressed.
Definitely a big one.
Yep, that's a nice hartebeest, man.
Thank you.
It's a big pleasure, Steve.
Nice one. Very nice one.
It's heavy.
Oh man, he's heavy. This is an excellent red hartebeest. Super, super heavy. Been fighting, he's broke his horns up right here. I mean, this is really an old hartebeest.
This is old bull. This is a real trophy. Real trophy.
He didn't go far, probably 20, 30 yards from where I shot him. Just a fantastic animal. Well, as you can see, my first day of hunting here in Namibia with Cornet at Omuwebe Safaris has just got off to a fantastic start. He said that we should start for hartebeest first thing this morning. We came over here and started glassing. We've seen hundreds of hartebeest everywhere we look, hundreds of hartebeest. And then when we finally found the ones we wanted, they didn't want to be nice. We stalked them from valley to valley, finally caught up with them here. They came into the valley bottom. We were up on a ridge top, set up at, well, we were between 300 and 400 yards from the different hartebeest in the herd. He stopped at 356 yards. I touched the laser range finding scope and put him down. Cornet made an excellent decision on which one to shoot. This is a beautiful old trophy. He's heavy, old, got good length. He's just a fantastic animal, and I'm really proud to have him. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, Steve, big pleasure. Congratulations on your first African animal.
Yes, I've been wanting to get over here and hunt with him for a long time. Randy Curtis from our office has made trips over to hunt with Cornet on multiple occasions, and I was definitely overdue to come over and experience it for myself. I can't recommend this enough. And from the looks of things, this is the first of many to come.
Yep.
We used several different hunting methods while we were on our safari. In the rolling hills and mountainous areas, we hunted almost exclusively by spot and stalk, using the terrain to our advantage. However, when we hunted in the extremely flat and brushy areas, We used the elevated stands and the Primos double bull ground blinds at the water holes. And in some areas, the country is wide open, and as we all know, I love my long-range shooting.
Springbok in the bottom.
One of the animals I really wanted to hunt was a Kalahari springbuck. These little animals are spooky and skittish buggers that like wide open country. They reminded me of our North American pronghorn, and this was going to be a hunt that would allow me to use my long-range shooting skills and put the Burris laser scope to work.
Sit down.
Everything here has a thorn. A prickly pear. All right, we've got some springbuck that we're watching from a distance. They're working their way around to us here. We're hoping they can end up out in this nice open area where Cornet can field judge, find out which one's the better buck. If there is one in the herd, we think there is. And I should have anywhere between a 250 and 450 yard shot. Got about 20 mile an hour quartering crosswind. It should be interesting. A little bit of a springbuck ambush. This herd of springbuck had been terrorized by the local baboons who had killed one of their newborn fawns the day before. Because of this, the springbuck were on full alert, and it seemed like they never really ever stopped in one place long enough for me to comfortably make a good shot. Cornet decided that we should stay on the ridgetop and wait them out. He was sure that the herd would eventually calm down and we would get an opportunity. Finally, after what seemed like forever, a small herd of antelope took off at a brisk pace and headed across the hillside. Cornet had dropped off the back of the ridge to glass. I quickly figured out which one I thought was the biggest and ranged him with the Burris laser scope at 506 yards. There was just one complication, a 25 mile per hour crosswind, which I knew would drift my bullet significantly. Now I adjusted for the wind and placed the 500 yard crosshair in line with the crease behind the shoulder.